Hi everyone, we're going to graph each quadratic function and label the vertex and axis of symmetry. I will also be doing, this is the axis of symmetry. Whoops, sorry about that. We did in the previous video, and so this time I'm going to go a little faster. That's axis of symmetry line. It's that vertical line. And you just use that for your vertex. You use that information, and we're also going to graph the y-intercept and graph these for quadratic functions. Okay, so here's the first one. Now I went ahead and wrote this as f of x. I'm going to write down my ABCs. A is 1, B is 6, and C is 2. Remember, there's a 1 there. So I need my axis of symmetry, which is x equals negative b over 2a, which is negative 6 over 2, which is negative 3. So I'm going to go to negative 3 here and draw it this way, because if I don't, I will make it crooked. That's the line x equals negative 3. That's your axis of symmetry. Now for the vertex, we're just going to plug in negative 3. So we're going to use f of negative 3 equals negative 3 squared plus 6 times negative 3 plus 2. What we get is 9 minus 18 plus 2. Remember, you're squaring out the negative there. So that's negative 9 plus 2 is negative 7. So your vertex is x is negative 3. You're using this part. And your y is this part, negative 3. So negative 3 comma negative 7. This opens up because a is positive. This is positive. And so we go negative 3 to negative 7, which is right here. That's the negative 7 part. Right here. So this is negative 3 comma negative 7. My y-intercept is 0 comma 2. I'm pulling out my c. It's 0 comma c. So it's right there. Now I'm going to come over here and make it symmetric. We're going over actually 3 here. So I'm going to go over 3 here. I'm going to go ahead and erase this so I have some room. And then just graph it. It opens up. So it's like your hands over your head. And it's something like that. If I keep going, that keeps going. And there it is. Okay? And did we label everything? Yeah, except for the y-intercept, which was 0 comma 2. And I just use this y-intercept to help me graph this point over here. Okay? Here's another one. This opens up. A is 1, B is 4, and C is 8. Axis of symmetry is x equals negative b over 2a, which is negative 4 over 2, which is negative 2. Now, it opens up because a is bigger than, is positive. And this kind of looks funny. So let me just put a is positive because 1 is positive. All right, so we're going to do f of negative 2 equals negative 2 squared plus 4 times negative 2 plus 8. So that gives me 4, because negative 2 squared is 4, minus 8 plus 8. That cancels, so y equals 4 here, because that will cancel. So my vertex is negative 2 comma 4. So let's go. Where's my axis of symmetry? Negative 2. So I'm going to draw that. And then we're going negative 2 to 4. Can you hear that horn outside? Okay. My y-intercept, let me make this a different color. So this would be negative 2, 4. We know this opens up. My y-intercept is right there, which is 0 comma 8, which is right there. So I'm going to go over 2 here because it's symmetric to my x equals negative 2, axis of symmetry. And I'll try to connect that. Goes more like that and like that. So there you go. Pretty simple. And let's go to the next one. Okay. This one, my A is positive, so it opens up. But my A is not 1, it's 5. My B is 10. Okay, my C is negative 3. So my axis of symmetry is x equals negative b over 2a, which is negative 10 over 2 times 5 is 10. So that's going to yield negative 1. So we go to negative 1 here. I have to do it this way or my line will be crooked. So x equals negative 1. And now I'm going to plug in negative 1 to find my y for my vertex. So that's 5 times negative 1 squared plus 10 times negative 1 minus 3. So this is 5, because negative 1 squared is 1, minus 10 minus 3. So I'm going to do 5 minus 3 first. That's just easier for me. So you get 2 minus 10, or 2 minus 8. No, wait, sorry. I'm saying 5 minus 3 is 2 minus 10, so that's negative 8. So my vertex is going to be negative 1, negative 8. So it's right here. Negative 1, comma, negative 8. Remember, your axis of symmetry should always match. These numbers should match. My y-intercept is negative 3, because I'm just taking that. So the y-intercept is negative 0, comma, negative 3. And then I'm just going to make it symmetric here. This is very narrow. All right. And I'm just using these 3 points. It's hard to graph on the iPad here, so it's kind of very narrow. This tells you it's narrow, because that 5 means that's a lot of strength, and it's going to be vertically stretched. Okay, and we forgot to label this. This is 0, comma, negative 3, your y-intercept. Okay, the last one we're going to do is this one. This one's going to open down, so it's a reflection, and it's negative, but this is going to be, the 3 is going to be a stretch, so it's going to be narrow. So let's just write everything down. A is negative 3, B is negative 2, and C is, everything's negative, negative 5. So your axis of symmetry is negative B over 2A, which is negative, I'm going to do it this way. B is negative 2 times 2 times negative 3. So we have 3 negatives, so I know this whole thing's going to be negative 2 over 6, which is negative 1/3. Oh my goodness, so negative 1/3. So I'm going to go ahead and plot this here. Negative 1/3. So I can't make it straight even when I do it that way. So let's see. This is negative 1/3, let's say. So x equals negative 1/3. Now, to find the y component, so for my vertex, I already know it's negative 1/3. I'm going to plug in negative 1/3. So we have 3 times negative 1/3 squared minus 2 times negative 1/3 minus 5. So this is negative 3 times 1/9 plus 2/3 minus 5, which is negative, this is 1/3 plus 2/3 minus 5. So this gives me 1/3 minus 5. And I'm going to go ahead and write this as 1/3 minus 15 over 3, because that equals 5. Negative 14/3, which if you will, this is negative 4 2/3. All right, so I'm just going to put negative 14/3 here. Okay, this is a 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 2/3 is right about there. My y-intercept is at negative 5. So it's going to be kind of opens down. And it's going to be something like that. Let me erase this a little bit. It's really skinny. So, real thin here. Opens down. So this is x equals -1/3. Your vertex is right there. And the y-intercept is 0, -5. Okay, and that's all for this. The next thing we're going to discuss on the next video is finding minimum and maximum values of quadratic functions.